As I established in part 1, divergences between the viewer and the character's perspectives is a feature of the slasher subgenre. However, it's particularly amplified in the whodunit slasher. In any murder mystery, it's vital that viewers can't know more than every character. The killer, of course, knows who did it. But that information must be withheld from us so that the film can function as a mystery. In murder mysteries, withholding information is an invitation to play. It gives viewers time to speculate about the killer's identity, their method, and their motive. A useful historical reference point is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Here, a group of individuals are picked off one by one in a single location. That formula is foundational for the slasher subgenre. The 1965 film adaptation of Christie's work, titled 10 Little Indians, exposes the whodunit's usually tacit challenge to the audience by inserting a 60-second whodunit break in which viewers are invited explicitly to discuss and commit to a final guess as to which of the two remaining characters is the killer.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us pause to consider the plight of these two people who were learning to trust each other. Now, for the first time in motion pictures, we offer you a whodunit break. A brief intermission in which to reflect. Who is the murderer of 8 people? Is it Anne Clyde? Hugh Lombard? Or have 8 people really been killed? Do you think you know the answer? Don't be too certain. Why not think about it for just 1 minute? Turn to the person in the seat next to you, and for the next 60 seconds, discuss who the murderer might be, while we refresh your memory with a few clues. Your time is up, ladies and gentlemen. We've given you the opportunity to solve the mystery, but we doubt that you guessed right.
In a sense, that flagrant signal of game playing is a precursor to the postmodern slasher film's approach to murder mystery. Rather than pausing the narrative, however, postmodern slashers embed invitations to play within the narrative itself. That invitation most commonly operates through a specific narrative mechanism, one that contrasts with the approach I laid out in part 1. Recall that in Scared, viewers' access to information is restricted because we were positioned outside the narrative situation. In many other postmodern slasher whodunits, the opposite is true. We seem to be invited into the text because the narrative perspective is most consistently aligned with the lead protagonists. We follow them as they investigate the killings, which means that we gain access to information when and only when they do. I Know What You Did Last Summer presents a clear illustration of the principle. The film chiefly follows Julie as she tries to uncover the killer's identity, and the narrative's epistemic alignment with Julie means the killer's identity is disclosed to us at the same time as it is to Julie. But that alignment also limits what we can know. It means that we share Julie's mistaken speculations too. A year after the group's involvement in a hit-and-run accident, Julie tells her friends that the victim was called David Egan.
His name was David Egan. You can call it an accident all you want, but he died because of us, that's certain.
So when the group is threatened by a figure claiming to know what they did, Julie assumes that the attacker is David, but she's wrong on both counts. Eventually, it's established that the protagonists actually ran over a man named Ben, and Ben himself had murdered David at the scene of the accident. Then, Ben starts pursuing them. Ben's existence is only revealed to us at the same time it is to Julie when she does further research in the film's final third.
Killed, trapped in car, driver unharmed, survived by her father Benjamin, a local fisherman.
And even then, Julie's previous errors carry over, casting doubts on Ben's guilt. Earlier in the film, Barry accuses Ray of being the killer.
Since you bring it up, we all know you have a slicker.
And a short reverse shot shows Julie looking anxious and wide-eyed at Ray, confirming that she also suspects him. Later, she learns that a man calling himself Billy Blue had visited David's sister not long after his death.
He came to pay his respects.
Really?
Do you remember his name?
Billy.
Did he have a last name?
Blue, Billy Blue.
And in the climax, Julie notices that Ray's fishing boat is also called the Billy Blue.
You. Oh my God, it's you!
What are you
talking about?
Billy Blue, you went to Missy's. You're the friend. You're the fisherman.
As viewers, we've got little reason to question the conclusion until Ben appears and essentially confesses.
Kids like you should be out having fun. Drinking, partying, running people over, getting away with murder, things like that.
You didn't realize.
Postmodern slasher films also leverage a second device which shapes the whodunit's invitation to play in a distinctive way. Unlike the majority of their boom period counterparts, postmodern slasher film protagonists know they are under threat. They're aware of the killings, they're alert to danger, they're explicitly on guard. Again, I Know What You Did Last Summer presents a vivid example of that trait. Ben actively raises awareness of the threat that he poses in order to intimidate the targets. He sends them notes bearing the slogan, "I know what you did last summer." He runs Barry down with his car, not to kill him, but to demonstrate that he has control.
He wasn't trying to kill me last night. If he wanted me dead, he could have done it. He's just fucking with us.
And later, he cuts Helen's hair while she's asleep and leaves the word "soon" in lipstick on her bedroom mirror. The same awareness is pervasive across the period. In Scream, the teens know about Steve and Casey's deaths from the outset because police and news reporters are already swarming the school grounds.
Casey Becker and Steve Orris were killed last night. What? No way. And we're not just talking killed, we're talking splattered movie killed. Ripped open from end to end. Casey Becker, she sits next to me in English. Not anymore. It's so sad. Her mom and dad, they found her hanging from a tree, her insides on the outside. Oh my god. Do they know who did it? Fucking clueless. I mean, they're interrogating the entire school, teachers, students, janitors. Do you think the school related?
That awareness gives them every reason to be vigilant. In Urban Legends, student reporter Paul alerts 3,500 students to the lunatic on campus via his front page news story after the first murder.
This was someone's life, Paul. Did you even spend 1 minute thinking about that?
No, I didn't. But because of my story, 3,500 students will. I think that's enough to help me sleep at night.
In Ripper, the killer makes the threat entirely public. The film's first victim is killed and then her corpse is sent crashing through a window into a crowded warehouse party. Although only one study group is actually being targeted in the film, the whole campus has reason to stay on high alert after that public incident. Widespread awareness among the victim pool creates a specific kind of tension from within the whodunit structure. Because the protagonists know a killer is in their midst, they speculate openly about who it might be, and those speculations directly encourage viewers to join in the same guessing game. At the same time, the mystery is deepened by casting reasonable doubt across almost every character. Scream's Randy puts that in the bluntest of ways.
Everybody's a suspect!
I Know What You Did Last Summer literalizes the problem in a different way. The killer is described as
some guy in a slicker.
Well, that narrows it down. Just being a quaint little fishing village and all.
The sheer abundance of suspects means the mystery is practically unsolvable, even though viewers are being invited to solve it. The result is a paranoid atmosphere, which is shared by the viewers and protagonists alike. The protagonists, knowing the killer is close, don't and cannot fully trust one another. That paranoia is systematically enforced by a thematic emphasis on secret keeping in these films. Do You Want to Know a Secret foregrounds this in its title, but the pattern's far wider in the period. I Know What You Did Last Summer and its sequels and the range of films that followed its template, including Black Angel, The Record and Dead in 3 Days, protagonists share a secret about their involvement in an accident that subsequently motivates the killer. Urban Legend follows the same logic. Protagonist Natalie's secret involvement in a car accident triggers Brenda's killing spree.
You took him away from me! Brenda, I wasn't... You were driving, but it was your car. And you weren't there, Natalie!
The protagonist's secret keeping, withholding information from one another, mirrors the formal operation of the murder mystery itself, which is based on withholding information about the killer's identity from us, the viewers. The emphasis on secrets, then, isn't merely atmospheric. It underlines that the viewer is distinctly disadvantaged by the whodunit structure itself. By design, we have limited access to information that would allow us to solve the mystery. That emphasis is amplified by another device that involves double or even triple bluffing when the characters are talking about who the killer might be. One of the bluntest examples I've seen of this is presented in I've Been Waiting for You. In one scene, Sarah and Charlie explicitly reason through the killer's identity together.
Well, I think we should face it. I mean, if any of us has a motive for picking off those guys, it's me. Well, think about it. I mean, those guys beat me up every single week in grade school. And they put snakes in my backpack and ants in my gym shorts. I'm the obvious choice.
Which makes you definitely not the killer.
Except that makes me the most obvious choice again. Because I'm the least obvious choice, because I'm the most obvious choice. Well, you know what I mean.
In this scene, Charlie basically admits that he's the killer. And as it turns out, that's the case. He is the film's killer. But we can't trust what he's saying here because it's framed as a triple bluff. The information isn't particularly useful to us in trying to work out who the killer is, even though it's basically telling us who the killer is. This scene neatly captures and is indicative of the postmodern slasher's broader approach to game playing. The characters confer about the killer's identity, they cast doubt on almost everyone, including themselves, and the viewers are invited to participate in the same speculative process. But the characters' doubts are themselves forms of information, and they infect our assessments, prompting us to second-guess our own evaluations at every turn. Epistemic doubt isn't incidental here, it's the postmodern slasher film's lifeblood.